I interview hundreds of authors who are all well aware there are a lot of books out there, millions of books out there, over 3 million published just last year. So, how do you find books you'll not just like, but love? Perhaps it's in your DNA, your book DNA. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because today's guest is working to build a book DNA profile of why each reader likes or dislikes a book and uses that to help you find books you'll not just like, you'll love.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jolles.
Today's guest, Ben Fox, believes that books build better people. He's the creator of Shepherd.com, where you can explore and discover books in fantastic ways. He lives in France with his wife and 8-year-old son, and in his free time, he enjoys multi-week bike tours through Europe, food and travel adventures with his family, and reading. And at some point, he decided it was better to be a pirate captain than an admiral. Happy to have you with us, and welcome to the show, Ben.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
It's a pleasure. So let's dive in. I saw you online, and I saw where you said that books build better people and societies. That's a big statement. So let's jump right there. But defend that a little bit. Build that up for me a little.
Yeah, I think books are awesome because they put you in somebody else's mind, and they do such an amazing job for teaching empathy, for shifting your point of view in a way that in a normal life you can't quite fathom. So I think they're just really good at helping people understand how the world works, how other people work without them. I don't know, it's like a trick. It like really just helps you see things a little more clearly.
Yeah. We often hear, books, expand our vocabulary. It's sort of the more intellectual side. So I think it's interesting that you're saying we'll give that as a given, right? But
Yeah.
there's more to it, is what you're basically saying. But man, there's a lot of books out there. As an author, believe me,
Yeah.
we're all fighting to get our books seen and heard. But I guess most importantly, get them in the right hands. So let's go to this DNA that you created. How do you help readers kind of figure out that DNA?
Yeah, that's one of our newest endeavors that we're working on. We basically are trying to ask readers some more specific questions about why they liked a book, to understand why they like books in general, and we're trying to build a profile that'll help us connect them with similar readers. So, for example, if I really love Dune because of the characters, and somebody else really loved Dune for the world building, we're trying to start exploring. Okay, how much difference is there inside of why people love books, especially when it comes to prose, writing quality, characters, what it makes you feel, think, all those things. So we're really just trying to go another level down and start working on providing better book recommendations based on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, do we take a poll of some sort when we're done? And we filling out creating a database for you?
Yeah, right now, the only way this is used is we do a end of the year program where everybody shares their 3 favorite reads of the year. So we're working this year to roll it out en masse for any book and start integrating it to the whole site. But right now, the only place we're using this format to test with is this big, high quality vote at the end of the year. So you can see on our website, where you can fill this out, and we ask like, what's your favorite thing about this book, second favorite thing, and some other questions. We try to keep balance between not too short but not too long, and that's where we're starting to use it on the site.
Got it. And if you're looking for that website, by the way, folks, it's shepherd.com, shepherd.com. Okay. So, I often tease authors that I'm interviewing and I say, look, I know you didn't find that book. That book found you.
Yeah.
So let's turn that question to you. How did the idea find you?
Yeah, I'd always wanted to do something with books just because I love to read, and I never felt like I found something that was unique or a cool approach. And I wish I could remember the bookstore, but I wandered into some bookstore on my travels, and they had index cards, and the staff had written on these index cards, like highlighting their favorite books, and then they had just kind of taped them on the shelves around the store. And it was a really cool experience because the way they also did the recommendations I could see their passion for the book and a little, they wrote just something quick on why it was their favorite. And for some reason, when I had some downtime after another business had fallen apart, right after or during COVID, I decided like, no, there's something here. I want to go ask authors for what their favorite books are around certain topics, themes, or moods. Try to dig out of them why they love that book in just a really short format, and figure out something there I can do to help them also meet authors. Or sorry, meet readers. And so that's kind of the where the idea was born. Is I wish I could remember which bookstore it was, but I've tried and I just can't.
Yeah, it's okay. Uh, it's interesting to me because I remember back in the day when we had Blockbusters, we
Yeah,
had,
yeah.
the video store. You went in and it was the staff's pick and things like that. And some of the smaller bookstores, which I really appreciate, still do that. Sort of,
Yeah,
it's not just the New York Times or something big like that. It's Larry's, and
yeah,
I that always interests me. So I think that's a little piece of where you're coming from.
yeah.
But I want to dig just a little bit deeper because I'm an entrepreneur. You certainly seem like an entrepreneur. There are entrepreneurs listening. We see things like that and we go, boy, but we don't always follow it up. What made you, just go a little deeper. What made you say, you know what, there's not just something here, but I'm gonna trail this. I'm gonna track this thing down.
Yeah. Well, I've had quite a few, businesses over the years, and I've been lucky enough to have some good exits. So I was in a place where I could pick a project that I was really personally passionate about. And so I felt comfortable pursuing this, knowing the book industry, because the book industry is more passion than money. And I knew I'd have to keep it, pretty bootstrapped and low cost, and that it was going to be a struggle, but it was probably worth it. So it was really for me, I was excited about, spending hopefully the rest of my life, kind of working on this problem and building something special. So that, I mean, it's been super motivating because I've worked for free now for about 3 years on this. I will continue to work for free, and I'm, trying to make it work. And I love the work myself just because I keep finding amazing books through it. So I know at least it's working for me. Hopefully it's working for some other people.
Yeah. We can only put so many things on our desk. In the world of training, we always say emphasize everything, emphasize nothing. But Ben can see this. Folks, you're going to have to just take my word of what I'm putting in front of him. But it's a saying that I keep on my desk, and it says, we weren't put on this earth to make a living. We were put on this earth to make a difference. Sounds like you're kind of tracking that a little bit yourself.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, another inspiration was watching my brother, who is a author or a writer, and watching him try to publish his book and the slog that's been. And now he's trying to publish another, and watching the hurdles and the barriers and the different gatekeepers. And I realized as I did more research just how tough it was for authors. And so, especially with some of the internet has brought a lot of problems with a winner takes all type model. And so I'm starting to worry that new authors are, it's so much harder to get that first couple steps into the system, and to get positive feedback and then write your fourth book, your fifth book, and then all that bit. So a lot of what Shepherd is trying to do is I'm not Oprah, in any sense of the word. It's trying to get people their first 100 or 200 readers to start noticing them every year. And then as Shepherd grows, we're starting to add more and more to kind of help authors move up that ladder. So that's really kind of a big inspiration as well, as watching my brother do that and realizing how tough it is for new authors.
Well, we all us authors want to shake the hand of your brother. Thank goodness he's around because
Yeah.
it is. It's and I actually teach a book marketing program here in Maryland, uh, because a lot of authors don't realize that, okay, you went through this journey to get this manuscript published, and you found a publisher, and you went through your copy editing and your readers and your graphics and all the different pieces, and now comes the big day and the book hits, and your job is just beginning. And
Yeah.
a lot of authors are not only exhausted, but they have no idea what that job is. Even just coming from the conventional side, when you can get a book conventionally published, you have this fairy tale that, oh well, Simon and Schuster is, now that I'm signed with Simon and Schuster, they're going to push this book like it's nobody's business. They got books coming out every tens of books coming out every day, week. You will get a push from a conventional publisher. A couple hundred sent out, to various outlets, of which 2% might come back as a review or whatever. And then basically it's good luck, Charlie. Go out there and get that book found. So it's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why I sort of tracked you down. Just an email. Let's see, email works, folks. Just saw what you're doing. I went, I got to hear more about this because authors, they have, and we can get their energy up. They still don't know what to do. They just know they've been
Yeah.
told to market. So good for you, and thanks for the help. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. It's been fun. My background's marketing, so the more I learn
Wow.
about this industry, it's just I'm just blown away because it feels more and more insane. And
Yeah.
I can't believe how much is pushed on authors that they have to do. It's like what whole companies deal with. So
Yeah. Do you know what one of the biggest moves now made by conventional publishers is to move books from authors? The answer is, and I'm not naming any names, but I know this for a fact. The answer is, sure, we'll publish your book, but you're going to buy the first 5,000 of them.
yeah, yeah,
And that's their way of saying we're not taking any risks on this book.
yeah,
If you're not John Grisham, that's and so that kind of twists it a little bit because, quite frankly, if I could guarantee I was moving 5,000 books on my own without a publisher's help, why would I go to a publisher? Why would I go to a conventional publisher? You're the
yeah,
distribution arm. So there's this kind of disconnect that's going on between the publisher and the authors. If I, sorry to pontificate here, but I do want to call out one that I really like, Barrett Kohler as a publisher, because they're one of the only publishers I know that actually puts a marketing class up every year for its authors and any other authors who want to join at a very not. It's a virtual. It's very nominal cost. They're not trying to profit from it. They're basically trying to teach their authors how to fish. But
yeah,
don't tell me go fishing.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let me ask you this. I see Goodreads, and I've participated in the Goodreads program before, uh, but that was a similarity that I was drawing. What makes you different than the Goodreads program?
Yeah. So I used Goodreads for a long time. Part of the reason I also started this site is I was very frustrated because once Amazon bought Goodreads, they stopped innovating. And they also shut a lot of programs they had. They actually had some really cool programs they were putting together for authors and where they could go advertise their book on a small scale, and those are all gone, among many other things. So Goodreads right now, when I talk to users, is mostly used for book tracking. So what we're trying to do is not help readers track what they're reading. That might be a small part of what we do eventually long term here in about a year. But what we're trying to focus in on is discovery. So we want to be the place readers go to kind of find the next book that they don't know about, the next author that they don't know about. Now, most readers find books through word of mouth. That is how books are moved. We're trying to bring more of that online and make it really fun and enjoyable for the reader to wade into the site and just kind of go down a rabbit hole of, I'm interested in World War One, show me ideas. And we've got lists from authors about all these different areas of World War One, or show me lit RPG or science fiction books. And then show me all these guides who can show me their favorite books and why they're their favorites. And that's, we're trying to build more and more of these so people can kind of sprawl through it just as you would in a bookstore. I'm trying to reimagine how people navigate books online. Because one of the things I get really frustrated with, and I mention a lot, is Amazon sells books the same way they sell toothpaste. And I really think this is a crime against humanity because books are an experience and they take us in amazing directions. And so how they're sold needs to be changed to be more of how do you sell this experience and highlight what this experience has given other people. So we're in the early stages of that. That is not an easy thing to do. I think our first format's doing that really well based on the data and the response we get. And we're trying to build more and more of those formats to help authors, but also to help readers as we move forward.
Hmm. Oh, you're a godsend. Thanks for jumping in here. You mentioned earlier you're not making any money on it.
Yeah.
All right. So how are you funded? How do you pursue this?
Yeah, so we're bootstrapped. We keep our costs really low. We've got two part-time developers building on this, myself, and then a small team that kind of helps with the editorial process. Our funding is mostly my savings and sweat equity to get going. At this point, we're meeting about 50% of our costs, and we're hoping to get to 100% within 2 years. Our primary funding model is membership. So authors and readers pay anywhere from 25 to 100 a year. And that all goes towards building Shepherd. I work for free. That pretty much helps us fund our part-time developers and designer. And in return, those authors and readers get perks. The authors' perks are more well developed because we started with them. So one of our perk is that we give them some book boost ads where their book gets a little bit more exposure as a thank you for their support. And we're going to build more and more perks as we get going. But we've got about 800 members right now who are supporting the site. And my goal in the next couple of years is to make it up to 1,500 or more, because that would really help us. And then any other money we raise just helps us hire a full-time developer and just build new features faster.
Okay. Before we went on the air, by the way, I was telling Ben, it's okay to bring up the website. He's like, well, I don't really like doing it so much. So I said, don't worry, I'll be the bad guy, and I'm not the bad guy. I'm the good guy, and I'm just telling you, authors, uh, reach out. Now, if authors, and I know authors are listening, uh, you want them to reach out directly to you. How do they become a part of this? We want to be part of that 800. How do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got a website for authors. It's forauthors.shepherd.com. It kind of outlines everything we're trying to help authors with. It's got a bunch of details, case studies, stats. I'm trying to be super transparent with everything I'm doing, business model included. And authors just need to email forauthors@shepherd.com if they're interested in creating a book recommendation list. This is our primary format right now. We're working on additional ones. But on that forauthors.shepherd page, we walk you through kind of the breakdown, how it helps you. It's meant to take about 45 minutes to do. I know sometimes it takes longer. But once you're ready to take part, all you're going to do is drop us an email. We send you the Word doc template to fill out. You turn it into us and we take care of the rest. So yeah.
Good. Okay. Don't forget, everybody, it's Shepherd is spelled Shepherd.
Yeah.
The internet's kind of funny about those things. You got to get it just right. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to go to 801 because I'm joining up as soon as we hang up on
Oh,
this
thank you.
conversation. So we got how to reach out. Anything in the future coming? Can you share any intel on some of the next moves, maybe?
Yeah. So we just launched our user accounts in October. We just switched our end of the year program so that now readers can take part through those user accounts, that was really exciting because now that we have that in place, we can build so many more features for readers and personalize things. So the next big thing for readers that will be our focus for the next couple of years is we are building a tool so they can throw all their pile of to be read books into it, and then we're going to use a lot of what we've already built to help them kind of sort and play with that. So if you have a big pile of books and you feel like reading a science fiction book, you can sort and say, show me all the science fiction books or space opera, or show me science fiction books that other people love for the world building or the characters. We're going to really make it a fun experience to kind of play with what you have there and see what's showing. We also are just started work on a massive upgrade to our bookshelves. So our bookshelves are like cool groupings of books. So the typical ones are genre, topics, and age groups. So you can go jump to science fiction or World War II or the Battle of the Bulge. And we're about to do this big upgrade where you can see the most recommended books of all time and dive into that, because what we're trying to do is help readers go a bit deeper and get out of these top silos. Like Amazon has these top 100 silos, but they don't really make it that easy to go further or to say, okay, show me all the science fiction books, but now I also want to know, okay, show me the detective science fiction books. And that's a lot what we're trying to do is help them go further. So we let people break it down by like decade, by year, by age group, and other things. And we're also adding pages to show trending books, new books, lists within that section. So it's really supposed to be a really cool place you can explore books on that topic, genre, age group. And then shortly after that, we're going to expand to themes, tropes, and moods. And these are all just cool points where you can meet books and poke around to see what might grab your interest.
Outstanding. Outstanding. I don't often ask this question, but I'm kind of coming down the home stretch here. So, what question should I have asked you? I mean, I feel like I got a good idea of what you're doing and how it works. We call it a whiff in sales. What's in it for me or us
Mhm.
to be a part of it? What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you today?
Oof.
Hey, he's working on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. It's a hard one. You asked a lot of good questions. Man, those are the big ones. I would say, maybe one that I always like to talk about is what I hope long term to get to, because
Okay.
so much now, we don't, we have two part-time developers who work about 20 hours a week, and we're slowly getting up to 30, and myself. So we don't have many resources. So we've been like slowly putting all these blocks together at the base of the pyramid. So I always like to talk a bit about where I hope to go, which is I hope to eventually be able to do a lot more to find the books that have that magic spark with readers and freely elevate and give them publicity. Because I think this is one thing that our current system does with word of mouth, but would be beneficial if we had more kind of on an online platform. So if five of our readers are highlighting, I love this book. It was one of the best books I read this year. We're trying to figure out how to show other readers who are like-minded. For example, like the best books of 2024, there was a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is a hilarious name, and I'd been recommended it a lot, but I had not read it, and I picked it up, and it was one of the best books I've read in the last 2 years.
Hmm.
And stuff like that is what we're trying to do is how can we highlight these books that people haven't heard of who are a perfect match for it, and it creates so that's a lot where we're trying to head. So that'll be the only thing is we have a lot planned for authors, but we're really just trying to build our base right now. So the more support we get now, the faster we can do that is maybe something I always like to talk about.
Perfect. Perfect. Any thought about connecting with publishers or even publicists? Uh, I mean, would a publisher, if I'm a small publisher, what would be in it for me to maybe encourage my authors, make that part of their marketing plan to connect with you?
Yeah. So I've talked to a lot of smaller publishers. They are so strapped in terms of stress and time right now, given the state of the industry,
Yeah,
that they're happy. They send a lot of their authors to us to do
good.
these as part of that author marketing. I'm trying to put more resources together to also explain what we've learned so far from the data to authors. I'm trying to do that by April and do a little presentation and just share it. Um, but it is hard for those publishers because they are so stressed right now with the state
Right.
of the market. So they just don't have much capacity to do much besides they send them onward to us and we help them. We've had really good luck with publicists as well because we're right up their alley because it's free. It just has to follow our format and quality. So yeah, we work with a fair number. But yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I was getting at because I think that's kind of a painless move. It's not caught, I know, believe me, I know how hard they're getting hit right now and how strapped they are, but they're looking for ideas that don't cost them money that they can help their
Yeah.
authors. Look, it's a real simple relationship between the authors and the publishers out there. Uh, everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's
It's
personal. It's not personal. It's they're just trying to survive, and they need authors that not only write beautiful books, but they can participate in the marketing of those books. I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
I was gonna say, yeah, one of the hardest things is I tell authors like I try to make it clear. I say repeatedly on the site, I'm not Oprah because a lot of authors come and they think, I'm Oprah and I'm somehow going to deliver, and I'm not. I'm small. I tell them that at our time, like we had 3.2 million visitors last year, and that sounds great, but there are a lot of books in the world, and there's a lot of authors trying to get attention. And so one of the things I try to explain to them is we're probably one of 100 things they should be doing to market their book. And because of the state of book marketing, I can't even tell you what 98 of those things are. I can maybe point them to one or two other things. So it's a very hard setup right now because even publishers would love to know where can I connect with readers. And because Goodreads has a monopoly on the system right now, and because of the state of media right now, there are not a lot of places you can get noticed. It's a real slog. So I mean that's what we're trying to work for. I'd love in a few years if we're like four of 100 things. And even better if the entire ecosystem improves. There are some other cool sites doing things, Storygraph and Hardcover.app. They're both taking on Goodreads, and they have the promise of once they get bigger, of building features that are going to help authors as well as readers. They don't do anything too heavily now, but those are exciting because the sooner that Goodreads kind of breaks apart, that's going to give more opportunities for authors. Bookshop.org has also been an interesting one because they are trying to bring more revenue into the ecosystem. That's one of the holdups right now is if, a site like mine can't exist with affiliate income from book sales because the affiliate rates are so small on books. And so it leaves this gap because nobody is building sites or infrastructure to help authors because it's not possible to even pay your server bills. And so that's one thing I do mention because we need way more sites like mine. We way more people working on this problem, and way more media attention. Just, hey, I love this book. I try to get more Substack authors to talk about books they love, just because that would
Right.
be a great thing every day to get a, hey, this person loved a book.
Right. Well, to your point, I will tell you, I'm constantly lecturing my authors to look for those 1 in 100s. In other words,
Yeah,
everybody dismisses that, but no, but if that's all you're doing, dismiss it. But it's 1 in 100. But what if we can show you 15 more 1 in 100s?
yeah,
All of a
yeah,
sudden, you're the lucky author that just got, somehow I got lucky. No, can never dismiss the small percentage moves. We have to collect as many of them as we can, though, and not just fall
yeah,
asleep on one. And I think that's your message. Last one. What about library thing? Are you familiar with that?
yeah. Mhm.
Is that you have a feeling for what they're doing?
No, not a good one. In the early days, I looked at them for possibly using some of their open data to help
Uh-huh.
power our book database because publishers charge, well, not even publishers, but there's a lot of ecosystem players out there who charge money for us to build apps using that data, which is frustrating. Their data was okay, but had a lot of problems with it just because of the way it's built, which is understandable. But no, I don't have a good handle on them. I've never had a reader tell me they use it. I've had one or two of like my nerdy friends tell me they use it.
Yeah.
But they're not normal, normal people. They're tech people.
They're not normal
Um,
friends. All right, I'll cut that
yeah,
part out. Don't worry. I'm not really.
yeah. No, they're like that. So yeah, I just don't have enough experience, but I know
Okay.
that when I interview readers and try to understand where they're meeting books and bumping into things, that is not one that has come up a
Got
single
it.
time.
Got
Uh,
it. And
Confusion.
I'm just flailing at this point because it's the same thing for me. It looks like a database they're trying to create, but other than joining it, I don't think I've ever been back. There's just no, and I'm sorry about that, but I kind of feel the same way. All right, my friend. Uh, I know you hate this question, but it's the last one. How do people get a hold of you? And he doesn't really hate
Oh,
it.
yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah, it's just my email is ben@shepherd.com. Happy to chat over email.
Good.
Yeah, makes it easy.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget how we're spelling Shepherd. And if you all forget, I'll have it on the website. Look, I really appreciate it. I love what you're doing. I think one of the most important points you made a lot of important points, is never fall asleep on small percentage moves.
Yeah.
Particularly with, if you were a stock, I'd be buying. I think you're going to make it. I think you're going to get bigger. I think this will ultimately really help out the authors that we want to help. And I just applaud what you're doing. I'm very grateful you were on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
You bet. Well, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.